Okay. We have some changes that are coming to the Sisters of Parvos update, so there's going to be some more things that are going to change. So let's go through them. This has been a thing pretty much since last week. Some of these changes came almost instantly. So there we go. Okay, so here we go. Since the Arsenal Divided workshop launched on Friday, we've been busy developing, testing, and reading responses. We have some preliminary changes to share with everyone. We're posting it in a separate thread to highlight the changes, and we'll do all necessary cross-posting, etc., etc. That means that June 22 onwards has the latest information on the Arsenal Divided. So you probably already know about this, but anyway, let's go. We've addressed 3 areas as well as a 4th bonus one. So the first one is going to be the Arcanes. Apparently, the primary and secondary dexterity arcanes, which of course are the ones where if you do a melee hit, if you do a melee kill, you get extra weapon damage. That will give you an additional holster speed now. I feel like the extra holster speed should just straight up be available for all of the arcanes. It should be something that you can just get as a nice bonus no matter what arcane you get. At that point, the idea is that when you reach this particular level of gameplay and you're getting these kinds of arcanes from the Steel Path BT dubs, then by default you will have extra holster speed, which I think is just such a nice thing to have. So I am of the opinion that the holster speed buff, that the holster speed bonus should just be available for every single one of these things. What do you guys reckon? With regards to the Merciless Arcane, so this one is the one where on any kill of any given point of any kind, you get more damage. It's downvoting a bunch of people on the Reddit mirror of this post. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to this one where the duration has been reduced from 6 to 4 seconds, I'm fine with this provided that the duration stacks with every kill that you get. Because the idea of having to get, I think the maximum is 12 kills in order to get the full power of Merciless Arcane, when you only have 4 seconds to get those 12 kills, I think at that point that's pretty harsh. Like even like that would be like struggle street to try and figure that out. If, however, it's 4 seconds and that 4 second duration, but that stacks with each and every kill, so you could potentially get a maximum of 48 seconds. Oh, at that point I have no problem with this. At that point this is fine. Like 48 seconds, 70 seconds, 72 seconds, 48 seconds, it's basically the same fucking thing. I wasn't planning to use it at 6 seconds, so I'm totally not planning to use it at 4 seconds. That is assuming it is actually 4 seconds that doesn't stack. If it's 4 seconds that doesn't stack, I would probably say that this is really, really difficult to use. Are you sure it doesn't fully drop after 4 drops? 4 drops? You mean 4 seconds? I don't know. That's what we'll have to find out. That's what they're gonna have to explain. Or rather, that's what we'll find out if and when I get this arcane in the first place. Oh, it turns out also that the dexterity arcane will give 7.5% combo duration, which basically means that if you use the dexterity arcane and you have a melee weapon, which you probably should because you're using the dexterity arcane, you basically don't need to use don't need to use body count. You basically don't need to use drifting combat if you really don't need to. If you really don't feel like it, and you want to use that slot for something else, that's what you can do. At that point, that's pretty cool as well, because sometimes you make a build and you have drifting contact in there mainly for that extra combo duration, but then sometimes you just want to like change it to something else. For example, if you're doing a heavy attack build, you might want to consider changing that to something like Killing Blow. If you're doing like a heavy crit build, for example, you might want to change it to something else. So at that point, that's pretty good. It's a mini Korra buff. Yeah, that's a pretty good mini Korra buff. Yeah, absolutely. I'm planning to use the Headshot mod with Headshot Arcane with AoE weapons. I get the feeling that the Headshot Arcane is not going to work with AoE weapons. In fact, the entire point of the Headshot Arcane is that it's supposed to probably not work with AoE weapons. The reason why is it's really hard to get a headshot kill with an AoE weapon. So far, I don't think you can really get it with the Kuva Brahma, but you can sort of get it with the lens. You can get it with the lens, but you kind of have to aim slightly above the head in order for it to work, so it's even trickier. I suppose by that logic, then, if you have the skill of being able to get a headshot kill with an AOE weapon, then you should be rewarded for it. But generally speaking, I think the idea is that you're meant to use it with a single shot weapon as opposed to an AOE. That's my understanding of it anyway. Okay, let's have a look at the Galvanized mods. So Galvanized Scope is the one that I really want to use on my Paris Prime. That one's going to have a mod capacity reduction of 14 to 12, so that's really, really good. It just basically means that it's easier to fit on my weapons. Galvanized Aptitude is the Condition Overload one, so that one is going to have its mod capacity drop from 14 to 12 as well. In the meantime, though, Galvanized Chamber is going to have its mod capacity increased from 14 to 16 and its stack count increased from 4 to 5, which basically means I guess you have even more multi-shot at the very end. Ultimately, I think the reason why they did this is the idea being that Galvanized Scope is supposed to be for crit weapons, therefore they want to make it a little bit cheaper. Galvanized Aptitude is mainly for status weapons, they're going to make it cheaper, whereas Galvanized Chamber is more of a universal mod that you pretty much will put on every single weapon anyway, so at that point you might as well just make it a little bit more expensive. I think at that point, in terms of the amount of mod capacity that you'll be using anyway, it's pretty much going to be the same, so you're going to have to build accordingly as far as I can tell. Ditto with the shotgun ones. Chad, how do you feel about shotguns getting a galvanized crit mod? Seems like a lot of people want that to happen, and on paper that sounds like a good idea, but here's the thing. I think the reason why DE don't want to do this is because they're terrified of there being another Tigris Prime situation, where if you do a crit mod on a shotgun, then every single shotgun that has even just a slightly decent amount of crit, suddenly they'll be doing the galvanized crit mod plus hunter munitions, and at that point we're right back to square one with the whole
navigation has been updated with new regions. Chaos is spreading
of all of those slash procs. What do you guys think about that though? Do you think that is a worry that is worth worrying about, or do you think that's a worry that's borderline meaningless? What do you guys think? I'll be right back. So you reckon that kind of a fear is meaningless? If that's the case, then okay, fine. Very well. Because I do feel like galvanized acceleration doesn't seem terribly useful. I mean, it will be probably useful in things like a phage, but how many people use the phage, number one? And then secondly, I mean, could be its own thing, I guess. Give shotguns 4 galvanized mods, whatever, fuck it, go nuts. Phantasma? I don't know, balance is good, but there are so many problems that are ahead of balance. Everyone forgets Phantasma. Oh yeah. I think of Phantasma more as a bomber than a shotgun, actually. I don't really think about it. But anyway. Something to think about. I think that's where their fear is. It's not unfounded, but it's probably too late for that now because the Sonos Prime exists. Because the Sonos Prime exists, and because the Sonos Prime with split flights exists, and because the Sonos Prime with galvanized chamber exists, I would argue that I feel like there is a good enough argument to be made that a galvanized crit mod for shotguns is not going to result in some insane meta. I mean, who knows? Maybe it will result in once again the Tigress Prime type meta coming back to fruition, but we'll see. And even then, keep in mind, because 100 munitions is a 35%. 35%? 30%. Because 100 munitions is a 30% slash proc chance anyway. There will probably never be a Tigress Prime situation, because the Tigress Prime situation was like that mainly because A, it had a ton of pellets, and B, it had a 100% chance of doing at least some form of proc, which is probably going to be a slash proc. That's where the Tigress Prime situation really kicks it up. So at that point, I think going for a putting in a crit mod for shotguns is probably not that much fear that should be taking the hearts of DE, I guess, if that's the idea. Alright, I think with and the secondary Galvanized mods is pretty much ditto between them and the primary mods. It seems like what they're trying to do is they're trying to get Galvanized Chamber to have a similar amount of power to Galvanized Diffusion. That's why Galvanized Chamber has an extra stack count. I believe that will effectively result in a similar amount of damage, a similar amount of power between Galvanized Chamber and Galvanized Diffusion. We received feedback about build and mod options when it came to mod capacity. We felt like it was a good idea to change the mod ranks. Good is a strong term. I think it was alright. Overall, we've lowered the required mod capacity as a whole per category by 2. That's really only going to affect crit stat hybrid builds, I guess. We've also changed Galvanized Chamber so it is at parity with the shotgun pistol mods by virtue of maxing their stats. Yeah, okay, cool. That's what I thought. Cool. At that point, I don't mind that. That's fine. So I've already talked about this already, but I'll talk about it here as well. Galvanized Mod Acquisition. They've decided to move every single Galvanized mod from Steel Path to Arbitrations. This change is rooted in the depth of the new items that we're putting in Steel Path with this update, and the hope some players had about being able to earn the Galvanized mods before they even arrived on the Steel Path. Since Arbitrations also require a completed star chart, but are a step up in difficulty from that base star chart, we thought, and apparently so did many of the people in the community, that they'd be a good stepping stone for earning some of the new upgrades. Here's the problem I have with this particular change. Why not both? Why not both? I, for one, find Arbitrations to be a little bit boring. I, for one, find Arbitrations to be a little bit on the sleep-inducing side. Now, it's a lot better than, say, doing a normal mission, which is actually sleep-inducing, and it's probably better than doing a survival mission, which is actually sleep-inducing. But why not both? Chat, why not both? If you're struggling to get it, go and do it in Arbitrations. But don't just force people who actually want to do it in Steel Path to have to actually do it in Arbitrations. I feel like that's not a good idea. So yeah, there's that. I pour myself a drink. And then finally there's a bonus. Beam weapon mods, apparently Ruinous Extension and Sinister Reach will now be slottable in the Xless slot, and their text, I can handle Steel Path, so the whole argument is moot. Yep, I can handle Steel Path, so the whole argument is moot. Exactly. Ruinous Extension and Sinister Reach are now slottable in the Xless slot, and their text changed from +X range to +X beam length. While we own the revision process for all things mods, some well-reasoned suggestions made it abroad. So there we go. Aboard, rather. I can't even fucking read. Okay, that's... I don't know what to think about that. I don't really care. It's fine. Remember they're nerfing the new core? Yeah, they're nerfing the new core. In the sense that instead of hitting 4 enemies, it's only going to hit 2 enemies. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Ruinous Extension works on new core? Okay. Well, there we go. Okay. So those are really the changes there. There's also meant to be some changes coming on the other sides as well. I believe the Parazon anyone have any changes incoming? Nope. By the way, the Parazon changes, they do seem pretty crazy, eh? So you don't have an auto-aiming beam, but still a super long beam. If you want... Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool, that's it. So those are the changes that are coming to the changes that are coming with Sisters of Parvos. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more of this kind of content, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace.